So this is a story of how the cadaver lab has changed my life. So hello everybody, my name is Sean and welcome to like a little mini vlog series. And before I start today, I just want to thank everybody for the unbelievable support that you guys have been giving me to this channel. I've been posting consistently for about a month and a half now, and we have accumulated about 60,000 views, which is like insane. I don't even know like 20 people. So seeing that kind of number is like, wow, that is just insane to me. I don't like to ask people to subscribe, but you know, the more engagement, likes, and subscribers that I get, these videos can reach people who might need them. But you know, I kind of wanted to talk today about the cadaver lab experience. So a few weeks ago, I had a medical boot camp that I was going to. It was a 3-day event and 2 nights, and we did a lot of activities, and it was a very beautiful and amazing experience. And I'm actually going into the medical field, so not only will this obviously, like, you know, help me out, but getting to see the type of doctors and, you know, kind of what they do. For example, like doctors who deal with like the eye, like ortho, and maybe even like lungs, hearts, those kind of doctors. And we got to do our own activities. So one of the things that, like some activities, for example, was like learning how to take vitals, checking your eyes, checking your, like, you know, oral area, checking the ears. We got to do like this 3D project kind of thing, because, you know, as like biomedical engineering kind of thing. But I think the thing that really stuck out to me the most was the cadaver labs. Like that was, I mean, that was so amazing to me, but it also taught me a very big life lesson, and that's something that I'm going to be kind of implementing moving forward. So when we go to the cadaver lab, so to anyone who doesn't know what a cadaver lab is, the cadaver lab is a lab where a medical student or a professional, they will go and, you know, they will kind of study the human body from a donor. And we didn't do any dissecting, but we mainly were kind of just spectating and, you know, watching the medical students kind of explain the parts of the body to us. And when we had to obviously get like our, you know, like personal protective equipment on, you know, mask, gloves. After we got our things, we got to enter the cadaver labs. And, you know, I won't lie, it was a very surreal feeling to see a deceased individual. And obviously, like, it was, you got to be professional, of course, but it was like when we walked in, and like we obviously like had a little bit of a meeting before we split off into activities, and they were going to have us like you know, kind of show us different parts of the human body, essentially, or you know, different parts of the human body, using the donor as a live example with like a PowerPoint slide. And when I looked at the individual for the first time, it was pretty surreal. I won't lie. I was like, wow, like this was an actual person who had a life, who had a career, who had dreams, you know, thoughts, goals, maybe family and stuff. And it's like, wow. And obviously I will not be disclaiming the names or anything like that, you know, respect of HIPAA. But when we got to see like details of their life, you know, like we got to see their name, we got to see their, you know, like what they did for a living, you know, that kind of person. And when I saw that paper, I really thought about like how one day, you know, I will, you know, obviously like everyone, I don't want to make it like dark or anything, but you know, like we're all gonna pass away eventually. And I had this thought where I was like, what do I want my life to be? Like, how people to remember me? Or like, even if no one remembers me, like, what did God see me do? Like, I kind of like imagine that piece of paper, like when I go up to heaven, it's like, what did you do with your life? Like, did you chase your dreams? Did you just kind of say, I'm too afraid, and just go the safe route? Did you take risks? Did you do what you really wanted to do, what you were destined to do? And that thought really hit me hard because it's like, I think seeing that donor made me realize, like, in the end of it, like, obviously people say, like, YOLO, you only live once, but why don't you make that life meaningful, Give maybe God another reason to put you back on this earth. And, you know, ever since I've seen that, like, I really just wanted to chase my dreams, and my biggest dream is becoming a YouTuber. Obviously, like, I have other dreams, like becoming the first grandmaster from my state, and like modeling, acting, and pre-med. But this is one of my biggest dreams, and I've seen so many people who put so much time into this, and like they fail really badly, or they they don't get as many subscribers, or they don't get pushed as much as they should. And I have that fear. I have a big fear of that. But seeing that cadaver lab made me realize, like, why should I be afraid? Why should I put my goals aside because I'm too afraid to take that risk? And I think that, like, one of the biggest examples of like risk taking is like starting your own business. Like, here I can even use myself as a perfect example. I'm going to be starting to work at a hospital very soon, and I have my own base pay. I have my own health insurance. I have my own dental insurance, and benefits. 401k is going to be starting to get built and stuff. But when you have a business, you have to get the customers, and you don't get like paid time off, because if you're not posting videos, or if your videos are not getting a lot of traction, that's gonna affect you a lot negatively. And that's why starting a business is like so scary to people, because like, what if I fail? What if I don't get as many customers, and then I'm facing debt, and I'm facing all this stuff, and the next thing you know, it's like, hey, I gotta file for bankruptcy because I'm not getting enough people. And like, that's one of the biggest things with like starting a business that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. Because even though like people are like talking trash about, oh, go to college, get a 9-to-5 job. Yeah, but that 9-to-5 job has benefits. That 9-to-5 job has maybe health insurance. That 9-to-5 job has at least a guaranteed salary going into your pocket. A business doesn't. Especially if you're like a really small business, like, okay, if you're like Elon Musk, like, bro, you're making like billions. But if you're like a small business, if you aren't getting customers, you don't have time to go on vacation. You don't have a guaranteed salary. You have to fight for your money and food. That's just the reality of like business, especially for like entrepreneurs in a small business standpoint. And it's going to take a good amount of time, depending on how hard you work. Like, going actually to Elon Musk, like, the reason he's a billionaire, did you not see, like, he was saying, like, working 24 hours a day, like some crazy thing like that, like no breaks, no nothing, but it's like, look where he got. But look how much time he had to sacrifice. He had to miss a lot of maybe family dinners or vacation time, holidays, all of this stuff. Before I get off topic, that's one of the things of how the Cadaver Lab like changed my perspective a lot about my own life and my dreams. And another thing, actually, what we did in the Cadaver Lab is we not only got to see like different parts and organs, but we also got to hold them too. Like, and it made me think a lot about the fitness industry that we have today. If you take your hand and roll it into a fist, this is how big your heart is supposed to be. And we got to hold enlarged organs. The enlarged organ, you need like 2 hands. It was like this big, like that big. It was like, what? And I was thinking a lot about like people who are blasting steroids 24/7. Even like, obviously you have to work out a lot. Like, I'm not trying to call anyone out or anything, because even if you take steroids, like, you got to put in the work. You got to show up to the gym a lot. You have to have your own training regimen, maybe even a steroid cycle. And that's tough, and that takes a lot of dedication and discipline. But the side effects are so high that I don't think a lot of people realize it. Like, I got to hold a normal heart and an enlarged heart. And, when these people are blasting these steroids, like, your heart is a muscle too. It's working out, like, your bicep, tricep, shoulders, legs, chest. anything. And, people on steroids, like their heart is going to be working a lot more. It's going to be working twice as more as like a regular heart. So over time, that heart is going to probably double in size. And you see a lot of people like who pass away from like aneurysms or enlarged organs because their body just cannot handle it. And it's a very scary thing to think about because I'm seeing a lot of like people who are like very young starting steroids. Like obviously like I don't want to call them out, but like this guy started steroids at 14, and it's like, I think it's clavicular, chlamydia, whatever. But it's like, what is that going to do for the long run? Like people are trying to chase this viral moment. They're trying to chase like the viral adrenaline rush. They want to be like, oh, I immediately got like 100K views. Me is like, I would love to go viral, obviously, because, that would benefit my channel and that would benefit, our community that I'm trying to build. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to earn it by screaming at a camera or like blasting steroids. I want to build it up over time because that's longevity. That's something that I've been really focusing on a lot in my, in my journey of YouTube, in my journey of pre-med, in my journey of everything. I don't want to just, cheat my way to success, but building the foundation and really understanding what I'm trying to do and building my personal brand and also building this community with you guys. That's going to take a lot of time, but at the end of the day, when it gets to that point of success, it's going to be, built on foundation, truth. Obviously there will be mistakes that I make in the future. Maybe even like in my past, I definitely made a lot, but there'll be mistakes that I make maybe next week, 2 weeks from now and stuff like that. And I might be wrong on some of these vlogs, but that's why I have you guys. You guys are I want to help. I want to create a community, not just like to say like, oh, I got 1 million subscribers who look at me. I want to create a community where I have 1 million people helping one another get better every day, where we're all communicating with each other and helping each other grow. And that's what I want with this channel. I don't want it to be all about me, but because you guys aren't just a number to me. You guys have your own life. You guys have your own thoughts, your own dreams, your own problems, your own struggles. And I don't want to take that away from you guys. And I feel like if this channel were to take off, like, I don't want it to be about me. I don't want you guys to just watch me improve, but I want to also like see you guys improve and maybe even help each other out in the comments, make, friendships in the comments. You never know what can happen. But this whole cadaver lab really has changed my life. It really has changed a lot how I see longevity. It's changed a lot about how I see like, chasing your goals. And obviously like the fitness industry, as I said, with the whole steroid thing. And with my physique, I've built it naturally. It took me 10 years to get to this point, to go from looking like how I did. And I actually started working out like end of my senior year, but that's when I truly started. But like that transformation started 10 years ago, because I started getting into like sports and stuff. And then at the end of my senior year, I actually wanted to like train for my own personal health and, to get stronger. So it's been a very long journey for me, but yeah, that's how the Cadaver Lab changed my life. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That would be amazing. But if you made it all the way to the end, the biggest question to you is, how did this change your perspective on your goals?